Hey, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening, y'all? I am back with another live hangout vid. Yeah, I'm. Well, guys, here's what people are gonna wonder how come I haven't been doing a lot of hangouts frequently as I've used to. Well, I have to repeat myself. My life has gotten a lot busier than the norm, which is a good thing in a way because um, if you spend too much time than you should on this platform, it can be detrimental to your mental health in a way. What I mean by that is that if you're gonna go through constant debates and arguments with people in the chat or people in the live streams or the hangouts, you name it, that can put that can be draining. So me being on here not too as much as I used to is a good thing for me. So I can talk about boxing, still in a way, but not to where I'm putting too much time and effort to it. So I mean, I am still reporting news. I'm still doing video uploads. I see it to be more, uh, you know, liberating in a way and whatnot. So yeah, so I'm back at this one. Let's see if anybody's gonna come in. I know it's been a while since I've done it a live hangout. So let's see. Let's wait for some people to come in before I start this. Let's see. Somebody's coming in, so they're gonna trickle in. They're gonna trickle in. They're gonna trickle in. Yeah, we got lots to cover, man. Lots to cover. So let's see. What's going on here? Yeah, let's talk about some things and wait till some people come in, and then then I'll get right into it. Let's see. Well, let's see. Yeah, got some people trickle in now. So I guess I can go ahead and get started a little bit, and then I'll see the comments section pop off. So let's get into it. First things first, Billy Joe Saunders vacates his WBO title ahead of a possible suspension that will be assessed by the WBO. Now, I reported yesterday that Billy Joe Saunders was not going to be stripped momentarily until the outcome of his appeal, the appeal case that he's going to file against the MSAC, which is the Massachusetts State Athletic Commission, who decided not to license him for his upcoming title bout against Demetrius Andrade, a fight that we wanted to see, which have actually done reasonable numbers on the Zone app. But now that fight's been called off, it's been due to the fact that Billy Joe Saunders has failed the PED test, which we all know is a stimulant, which works 10 times more powerful than Combuterol, which is confirmed by controversial, if not notorious, lab chemist by the name of Victor Conte, who once supplied, PEDs, powerful PED drugs to prominent athletes from the Balco labs up in Oakland. Anyhow, Billy Joe Saunders was suspended. Failed the drug test, a VADA test, due to that. Now, what's the irony about the situation is that this particular stimulant drug is it's allowed under the jurisdiction of UCAD, which is the United Kingdom Anti-Doping Agency. Okay, they allow the drug to be used for only out of competition situations. Now, what constitute a out of competition situation is, which is a very kind of bizarre thing to me, to be honest with you, is that if out of competition will only constitute when the athlete uses it the day before or the day after the actual sporting event. So people are going to look at that and say, wait a minute, if a fighter is training for a fight, even though it's 2-3 months away and they're using the drug, so you're allowing them to use it the day, at least as long as it's not used the day before the fight, that makes no sense. That makes no sense unless the drug does excrete, I should say, from the system at a very rapid time. That's probably what they're referring to, but I don't know. But it does seem very strange. It does come to into question on why UCAD will allow such a policy. So, and I know Frank Warren was did a radio interview with a over in the UK, and he voiced out his displeasure over this ruling by MSAC. And MSAC said, "Look, a failed test is a failed test. I mean, this is under WADA or WADA's jurisdiction. The stimulant cannot be used under any circumstances, even though UCAT has a different set of policy. But WADA, which accredits on UCAT, I believe, they their jurisdiction supersedes UCAT, and Billy Joe Saunders was well aware of it. He signed on to have WADA testing, so he was aware of it. But then again, he may not have been aware of the fact that this drug was also prohibited by WADA. I'm not making excuses, Billy Joe. But I'm just saying that he probably wasn't aware of it, but at the same time, he should have been more in this situation. So, what's going on here? Oh, okay. But anyhow, sorry about that little distraction there, guys. But anyhow, that's the situation here, man, because like I said, I hope Billy Joe, that he's definitely going to, I don't know what's going on with that. So, hey, what's going on? I can't even see most of you guys' chat. Joe Host is in the chat. Hold on. Let me go to another side of the video here. I see Lowland Profits. What's going on, Lowland? Let's see. Let's see. All right, let's look at it this way. I don't even see Joe Host here, but okay. It is what it is. But yeah, Lowland, what's going on, man? Salute to you, brother. Salute to you. But yeah, Billy Joe, the WBO will be recommending a 6-month suspension, or the president, by that matter, he'll be recommending a 6-month suspension for Billy Joe. And it looks like this is going to be a drawn-out battle between his party and the MSAC, so which is the Massachusetts State Athletic Commission. So that's going to be yeah, we'll see how far that goes. But again, this is also detrimental to Billy Joe in his career because he hasn't been very active. He's never been a very active fighter ever since he won the WBO title. Hey, what's going on, Lord Flanneroy, man? I'm good, man. It's been, hey, it's good to see you in here, man, more frequently, brother. It's good to see you in more frequently. But the thing is, back to my point, ever since he beat Andy Lee for that title, he hasn't been very active. He's been very undisciplined in many ways. He's been very childish. He's been having his his childish antics, going at Deontay Wilder at Nando's over in Belfast, and then humiliating a hooker, I believe, a prostitute or something like that, or a crackhead on the streets. Got sanctioned by the British board the British boxing board of control, 100 pounds, and he lost out on over a $2 million pound payday, which is well over 200 million. I'm sorry, 200, which is well over $2 million in US. So obviously he's not happy about that. Neither is Frank Warren. But the fact is that this is something he should have known. He should have known better about this. And as I stated in my previous video, there has to be a uniform protocol when it comes to these PEDs. You cannot have each of these drug testing, these independent agencies that operate under the jurisdiction of WADA to assess their policies under discretions in these other countries. They can't do that. They have to be very uniform. This is where the confusion comes to play, and this is what Billy Joe and Frank Warren are arguing. So, like I said, we'll see where that lawsuit goes. But at the same time, Billy Joe vacated his belt. Now Andrade and what's the guy name? I can't even remember I can't even pronounce his last name. I'm gonna give it a try, y'all. So forgive me. So the guy's name is Walter Kantudoka. Kantudoka, who's a Namibian fighter who's trained under Nestor Tobias, who, I have to repeat once again, trained Julius Ndongo. So yeah, and Paulie Moses too, 2 former world champions. Anyhow, yeah, good. I appreciate the support, Lord, man. I really appreciate it. Rome, what's going on, man? Aki, man, what's happening, brother? What's happening? So Billy Joe, yeah, it's unfortunate. It looks like we're not going to see him in the ring for the remainder of the year. He hasn't even fought this whole year. That's just the irony about this. Did he even fight this year? I think the David Lemieux fight was last year. He pulled out of a fight against Martin Murray early this year. And you know, this is just very unfortunate for Billy Joe Saunders. A tremendous fighter, got great talent, but just not the great discipline, man. Not the most disciplined fighter out there. And you know, and Tyson Fury is his buddy too. He was not also a disciplined fighter as well. But you know, needless to say, Tyson Fury is a different subject. But the fact is that this is all about Billy Joe Saunders. And Tyson Fury actually had a much worse situation than Billy Joe. Let's be fair to Tyson. Because he had to battle depression and drug use and all that stuff. So he's back, Well, that's a different discussion. But anyhow, when's the last time Billy Joe fought? I know he fought David Lemieux, but was that last year? Yeah, that was late last year, and he hasn't fought. It's crazy, man. This is crazy, man. He's only had 3 title defenses. He's had 4 title fights out of the last 3 years, man. That's just terrible activity as a fighter. I mean, terrible, man. I mean, I'm not saying it's the worst, but it's definitely terrible. Yeah, I can see your chats now, Joe Host, man. I can see you now, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, I guess YouTube is cracking down on the vulgar language, man. So you guys got to be careful what you say in the chat. Yeah, Brandon White. What's going on, Brandon? Yeah, Saunders had the title too damn long, too much anyway. Yeah, he did. So Andrade and Continent, I can't even pronounce that guy's last name, but Walter from Namibia, they're fighting for the full WBO title. So interesting fight. I'm obviously respecting Andrade to win this, but in the box this guy in circles because Walter is I've seen this guy fight, and he's got some good skills, but he seems one-dimensional because he's a power puncher. He's a come-forward pressure fighter. So he hasn't fought on world level. This is his first test, so we'll see. And a dangerous test by that matter for him. So we'll see how it plays out. And could he pull off another Julius Ndongo? We'll see. We'll see. Because if Andre loses fight to Walter, man, dude. Dude. I mean, unless Eddie Hearn does have a promotional option on him like he did with Ndongo when Ndongo beat Ricky Burns. So we'll see. We'll see. Bakari King, what's going on, man? Let's see. Yeah, so Billy Joe, we'll see how that turns out. But let's switch gears into Manny Pacquiao signing with Al Heyman, man. Wow. Now, I'll have to be honest with you guys. This is something I never expect would ever happen in this lifetime, man. I never thought that's would ever happen. Now, again, it's an alignment because Al Heyman is not a promoter. Let's not get it twisted. He's only a manager and an advisor or financial advisor by that matter. So I listened to Fanon's video on this. A shout out to Fanon, Boxing International, and Fanon did mention that this is probably a way for Manny Pacquiao to help promote his own promotional company, which is Pacquiao Promotions. So just a break away from Heyman. And what's funny about the situation is that Manny Pacquiao has really cut ties with everyone that he's associated in the past under the Top Rank banner. He's cut ties with his trainer, Freddie Roach. He's got back with Blue Boy Fernandez, and now he cut ties with his longtime legal advisor, Michael Kantz. So this guy's just really, really starting from fresh, and he's 39 years old. So, I mean, at the same time, I don't know how much time he had left in his career, but we all know that he's doing this for a financial gain because he's in financial debt, and just like Floyd Mayweather, which I'll get to in a second, he is doing this for financial reasons because he is in drowning in debt with the U.S. With the IRS, and he's I'm not sure he has debt elsewhere. I would assume so. So he does need some fights. He needs some big paydays, and the rumor, or more likely going to be confirmed fight on his first fight under the PBC banner is Adrian Broner. Now I mentioned that Adrian Broner, and if he does win that fight, he does get his. He is in line to get a rematch with Floyd Mayweather for summer of next year. Now I'll get to that one in a second, but the Broner and Pacquiao fight is very interesting to me. And that could be a very good fight. Now the question is whether this is a pay-per-view fight. Potentially yes, but it could be a pay-per-view fight. I do see it as a pay-per-view fight. Now, if it goes on the regular Showtime broadcast, oh my goodness, that will generate a lot of views. but we'll see. We'll see. Now, as far as if he does get past Broner, okay, this is weird. It's not letting me chat negatively about Dillian White or Eddie Hearn. Really? 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 Yeah. We're going to talk about Dillian White in a second, man, because I heard about that. That I saw that little interview with Eddie Hearn about that Dillian White and Luis Ortiz situation. I wasn't going to comment on that until they actually made an announcement about Dillian White's next opponent, but I guess it's safe to say that I could do that right now. But I'll get to that in a second. But uh, hey, what's up, Dwayne? Dwayne says that once again the song got turned away. Yeah, you know what, Dwayne? We all chat about this too, and I'll bring you guys on in a second. Is just that let's just be honest here. The Zone doesn't have the platform where people like Pacquiao, people like Mayweather, people like Canelo. I heard Beats' video on this. People like Joshua to an extent, or maybe Wilder if he does do well numbers on his first pay-per-view, headlining pay-per-view. They just don't have the back end money to pay these fighters. They don't. I mean, the Zone. The only way the Zone can compete is that they have to offer a pay-per-view platform, and just they don't do that because they're a streaming service, whatnot. But again, that doesn't mean they can't offer a pay-per-view format. If they do, then you pay $20 for a fight. That would be a good deal. They could probably draw some people in, but yeah, this is going to be a huge hurdle for them to overcome. I mean, yeah, they lost out on Pacquiao now, so and then their new one, their the cards coming up, they having Brandon Rios versus what's his name, Gabe Rosado as a headliner. I mean, look, I know those guys need fights, but those are not headliners. Come on now, seriously. But anyhow, but yeah, Joe says that Pacquiao is late to the party. Yeah, he is kind of late, but we all know that he's doing this for a payday. But again, there's some interesting matchups. Pacquiao versus Broner. He does have the regular title, so maybe the WBA would mandate his fight against Keith Thurman, who's a regular champion. I mean, who's a super champion. So yeah. I mean, that would be a good fight, Pacquiao versus Thurman. So we could potentially see that now. That's a fight I want to see. Thurman versus Pacquiao. And I know Thurman, when he'll jump on that one right away. Coming off a very, very long layoff. He hasn't fought in a whole year. And he's not going to come back this year, too. So we all know that. Hopefully he does return on the Wilder and Fury undercard. But, yeah, man. I mean, that's interesting. It's interesting to see how it goes. Now, as far as the Pacquiao and pay-per-view, as far as Pacquiao and Mayweather rematch potentially happening, if Pacquiao does get past Broner and we could see that, let's be honest, that fight is not going to do the astronomical numbers like it did before. It's not going to do it. Now, I'm not going to deny the fact that their casuals are going to still buy it because Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather do have a big following amongst their casuals to some degree. But it's not going to do 4 million buys like it did before. It's not going to do that. It may get close to 1 million depending on the pricing of the pay-per-view because I know people are going to tell me, well, Dan, how come Canelo and Triple G were able to overprice their pay-per-view at $89.99? Well, because I'll tell you why. Because they were at the first fight, they produced fireworks and excitement. Of course, fans were going to pay good money to see that fight because that was expected. We got fireworks in the rematch. So that's why fans paid good money to see it. Now, as opposed to Mayweather and Pacquiao, this is going to be an extra cautious fight. There ain't going to be no excitement. Floyd will be gladly to box his way to victory and not give the fans what they want, for their money's worth. So that's why people don't trust it. I mean, if they're going to put it on pay-per-view, they're going to have to really lower the price for that fight. I'm just being honest. There's no way in hell that Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao could sell at the price tag that they did before 3 years ago. It's not going to happen. I'm being real. It's not going to happen. Now, let me get on the Dillian White situation. All right. I know I'm seeing some comments coming in regarding this. Hey, M. Reynolds, what's going on, man? Let's see. Let me see. Rome says that, yeah, he finally learned from Floyd how to make his money. So let's see how long it takes Canelo. All right. Hey, that's a good point. Could Canelo back away from the could he get away from Golden Boy? And I mean, I know Canelo does have his own promotional company down in Mexico, I believe. Could he take that nationwide, worldwide? We'll see. I mean, I think he does have the financial backing to do it himself. His his earnings. Let me see. M. Reynolds says that Hearn isn't letting White near Ortiz. Yeah, it's obvious. It's obvious. If Mr. Boxing Today, shout out to Mr. Boxing Today. He posted his Dillian White's training footage on his video on his page, I should say. And Dillian White was doing some training, and I noticed that Dillian White is very slow with his footwork, man. I mean, I'm not, I know he's got a little better footwork than Wilder, but he's slow on his feet, man. And every time he punches, he resets. And when Luis Ortiz sees something like that, especially as dangerous southpaw Ortiz, he's going to eat that up, man. I mean, Dillian's going to have to work on if there's any possible chance of that Ortiz fight happening, he's really going to have to work on his footwork. He's going to have to work on his elusiveness. He's going to have to really work on some things. Now, people are going to say, well, he was able to catch Wilder. Yeah, he caught Wilder, in the 8th, and what was it, 7th round? But Wilder's a very slippery dude. He may not have the best footwork. He may not be the best boxer, but he's very athletic and very elusive. He's much more quicker than White. I mean, I'm like, dude, Dillian's going to have to really work on some things if he thinks he got a chance against Ortiz. Really got to have to work on some things. But hearing this interview by Eddie Hearn saying that, look, there's no interest in that fight. We're looking to make the Chisora fight, or we're looking to make the Dominic Brazil fight. Now, to me, the Dominic Brazil fight, I don't mind seeing that fight. But this is the principle here, because Dillian White's a guy who ran his mouth off saying that Luis Ortiz was the one who ducked him. And Ortiz responded to that, saying, oh, really? If I ducked you, then why don't you come on and fight me on December 1st on the Wilder Fury undercard? Dillian White turned it down. He said, nope, you come fight me on December 22nd. Ortiz says, okay, send me the contract. We got nothing. And Dillian White's been quiet for the last 3 days now. And Eddie Hearn had to come out and do the talking. Now, from the looks of it, this makes Dillian White look bad. Now, anything can happen in the next few days, but we still have to see who his next opponent is going to be. But if Eddie Hearn is saying true to what he just said there about Luis Ortiz doesn't really matter at this point, there's no importance, then this does look bad on Dillian White. It looks really bad, and there's no way anybody could defend that. You could be a Dillian White fan much as you want to. You have your right. But if he announces his fight with the Chisora, or even Brazil, even though I do like the Brazil fight, or even the Chisora rematch, I don't mind both fights, it does make Dillian look very bad. It does. If he doesn't take that Luis Ortiz fight, it's going to look bad. I'm just being honest. It's going to look very bad on him, and there's going to be a lot of chance going in on Dillian for doing that. You don't open up your mouth, and then when somebody calls your bluff, you're going to run away. You don't do that. Plain and simple. Like I said, we're just going to have to wait and see. But from the looks of it, based off that interview by Eddie Hearn, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. And what I find funny about this is that there's people out there who doesn't want to give Wilder credit for beating Ortiz and knocking him out, saying he's an old man. But all of a sudden now, they're pressuring Dillian White to fight Luis Ortiz. Wow, have they come to see the light on Luis Ortiz? They're all harassing Eddie Hearn on Twitter right now, and Instagram, saying, no, Eddie, you better make that fight. They're harassing them right now. But we'll see if Eddie will give in on the fans' demands. Well, we'll see. We'll see. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Ross Clott's in the chat. What's going on, Ross Clott? I know he's making fun of Ortiz's age. Let's see. Lowland Prophet says that White's under protective custody. He's scared of an old man, wants him to age him out for some more time. Hey, that's possible. That's a possibility. That's a possibility. Maybe Hearn went to Dillian and said, "You're not ready for that fight. Let's age him out a little bit more, and then we'll take the fight when we're ready to do it." That's a possibility. That's a possibility. We'll see. Because I know that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing with AJ with Wilder. That's exactly what they're doing with Wilder right now. They're having AJ wait for Wilder to age, wait for him to slow down, and then they'll take the fight when it's ready to take that fight. That's what they're doing. Hop, what's up, Hop? Hey, Dan, how have you been? How you happy these days? Hope so, pal. Yeah, I've been good, man. I've been good, man. You've been taking it one day at a time. One day at a time, brother. Lowland says White has footwork of an ostrich. Wow, bro. And where he had Joe Hostess respond to Ross Clott, if he grows some fucking balls. He's talking about Dillian White. How come someone won't give Wilder credit for the chin that he showed against a disastrous round against hard-hitting Ortiz, or is it biased? You know what? That's a good point, Hop. That's a very good point. And a lot of people question Deontay Wilder's punch resistance. And I have too, to be honest with you. I have too. But he took some monster shots against Ortiz and he didn't go down. Any other fighter took shots like that would have went down. And I'm going to be real. I think Dillian White would have went down with those shots like that. He would have been out. I'm going to be very honest with you. And it seems like people don't want to give him credit for that. Yeah, that's a very good point. Very good point. Lowland says, "Go ahead, Ross Clot. Make your race comments and see what happens." Nah, come on, y'all. Let's keep it cool. Ross Clot's cool. He's fam. Ross Clot is cool. It's cool. It's cool. Lowland says that, hey, Ortiz could be 81 years old and White will still have an excuse. Hey, we'll see. Lowland, Ross Clot to Lowland. When have I been racist? Yeah. Come on, y'all. Come on, yeah. Ross Clot's a brother. He's cool, man. Even though we have differences of opinion, Lowland, but he's cool. He's cool with us, man. He's cool. Joho says Sky Sports Twitter page is getting shitting on as well. Yeah, I mean they should. I mean, because here's the thing. You don't call out a man, you don't accuse a man for ducking you. And then when that man responds to you, say, nah, if I'm ducking you, do you come fight me on December 1st? You turn the fight down, say, no, you come fight me in the UK on December 22nd. He didn't think, you see, here's the thing. White didn't think that Ortiz was going to accept that offer. And when Ortiz did accept it, he's been quiet for the last 3 days. That looks bad on Dillian. And then Eddie Hearn had to address that and say, you know what? That's a fight we're not looking to make right now. That just looks bad. That looks bad, man. Like I said, let's just hope they do have a change of thought on this and make that Ortiz fight for this December. Let's hope they do. But if they don't, man, it's gonna look very bad on Dillian. I mean, he's looking bad right now at this point. So we'll see. All right, come on, Lowland. Let's keep it cool, man. Come on, man. Let's keep it cool. Aki says Wilder's confirming he's not fighting Jay next year. Is that AJ's fault? Well, Aki, to be fair, Barry Hearn said the same thing too. They're not fighting each other next year anyway. They wait until 2020. So let's keep it fair. Let me see. Yeah, come on, y'all. Keep it respectful, man. Keep it respectful. Dwayne says, now Wilder didn't go down, but when AJ fought Povetkin, y'all say his power went through his PEDs. Why don't y'all ask the same when Wilder fought Ortiz? Well, you know, Dwayne, you and I, you know me, Dwayne. I'm very neutral about this. I gave AJ full credit for that win against Povetkin. Full credit for that win. I had Povetkin win in the first 3 rounds, and then AJ, figured him out, picked him apart the last 3, including the 7th round with TKO. So he deserves full credit. They both deserve credit for those wins. Now, the question is, what was the more impactful fight at this point? Some say Ortiz was. And here's the reason behind that. Yes, Povetkin had the better resume, but AJ was the 8-1, 7-1 favorite to win that fight, and people weren't. I mean, yes, they did pretty well at the gate with the ticket sales, but there was still people who were really interested in that fight. I mean, I don't know why, but there wasn't that much interest compared to the Wilder Ortiz fight. Now, remember, Dwayne, a lot of people were accusing Wilder for ducking Ortiz, and that was a fight that we wanted to see for 3 years, and I accused Wilder for ducking him. But when Wilder finally took the fight, while nobody else wanted to, and surprisingly, nobody still doesn't want to take. Well, not too surprising. No one still wants to take that fight with Ortiz. That was an impactful fight, and people thought Ortiz was going to win that fight. Wilder was not the biggest favorite to win it. Yes, he was a favorite, but he wasn't a big favorite. He was like the 2, maybe 3-1 favorite, maybe 2-1 favorite as it got to fight night. But other than that, that was more the impactful win than AJ beat Povetkin. Yes, Povetkin is still a solid win on AJ's resume, but the most impactful win was Ortiz because he was undefeated. He was a dangerous Cuban southpaw that nobody wanted to fight. Even AJ ducked that fight. So I have to say, I know some people don't want to hear that, but that's the truth. I mean, there's a handful of heavyweights who ducked Luis Ortiz, including Big Baby Miller, who won no part of him. So that's be realistic. Let's be realistic. All right, come on, Lowland and Ross Clock. Let's keep it cool, dog. Hey, Lord, thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you. Let's keep the peace here. Let's keep the peace. Yeah, Joho says it's still crazy how they're still ducking Ortiz because he's still beatable. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's a beatable guy, but he's still very difficult to figure out. Even when Wilder knocked him out, Wilder still had a tough time with it when he got back his legs in the 9th round or 8th, 9th round. So, he's still a very, very tough dude to deal with. Even if you have him even when you have him hurt, Ortiz is still find a way to come back at you. He's very difficult to deal with. So, yeah, I mean, let me see. Let's be real. Other than Fury and Wilder, no one's beaten Ortiz. Hey, Dwayne, you may have a point there, man. You may have a point. Rosclaw says Ortiz resume is garbage. As soon as White grows a pair of balls, grows a pair, watch Ortiz lose. Well, we'll see, Ross Clout. We'll see. You know, it's sad, though. A lot of guys are not giving him a shot except for Wilder, and it does become detrimental on the man's resume. It does. So I don't obviously AJ Povetkin does better views on YouTube than Wilder versus High Pressure Ortiz. Well, Aki, here's a problem with that. Wilder Ortiz, when people uploaded that fight on YouTube, it almost got to 1 million views until CBS and Showtime took it down. So you can't find that fight on YouTube because CBS was cracking down on that. As far as AJ versus Povetkin is concerned, of course, you know, there's other countries that's uploading the fight, and it's going to get a lot of views on it because I think Sky Sports hasn't really cracked down on that. But I could tell you over here in the U.S., the Zone, it did terrible numbers. I think the highest it peaked is at 15,000 views on the Zone here in the U.S. I mean, come on. Let me see. Ross Scott, your host of Ross Clout, says that he ain't about to grow a pair anytime soon. I mean, let's just hope that Dillian does reconsider and take that fight, man. Let's just hope he does. I mean, because if he don't take that fight, and from the looks of it, he's not, this is going to look very bad. Look very bad, and fans are going to harass him for doing this, you know, for calling out a man, and then when the man calls out your bluff, you didn't take the fight. It's going to look very bad. I mean, it is at this point. And let me just make this clear. If Dillian does take that fight and he beats Ortiz, he deserves full credit from me. No criticism right here. He deserves full credit. But the problem is that if he doesn't, I mean, the problem is that, again, man, it just looks bad. I mean, it just looks bad. Aki, you want to see the numbers? I'll share it right here. Give me 1 second. Zone, Joshua Povetkin views. Let's see. Let's see. Reported this week. Sources says win over Vivek can generate only about 5,000 views. Now, I found this on Reddit, and there was an article that was attached to this. Oh, Boxing Scene. Wait, hold up. Boxing Scene got it right here. So this is sources closest to the situation said they did about 15,000 views. So this is on Boxing Scene. Hearn also said it did lower than that. So can't post life is with no source. Let me see. Let's see. Yeah, someone also put a tweet on this too. I think it was a sports journalist from CBS who put this out too. So I'll find it for you. What's the name, Aki? I'm gonna post it right now. Give me a second. I'm gonna bring it up. Oops. What am I doing? Did I really do that? Hold on. Did I really do that? Hold on. Let me delete that. Let me get it off my favorites bar. Thank you. All right, so let's see here. So it was reported by her that it did about between 5,000 and 15,000 views. This is on Boxing Scene. Hey, what up, Red Glove Militant? I'm good, bro. I'm good, man. I'm good. Wait, Aki. Eddie confirmed 300,000. Really? Really? Show me a link to that article. Show me a link to that interview because I never heard of that, man. Because 300,000, that is very, very surprising. Because from other sources, they said about 5 to 15,000. Man, there's no way they could have done that much. I didn't see that number. Where did that number come from? Yeah, I gotta. Yeah, show me. Yeah, give me a link to that, man, because I gotta see that. Where did Hearn say this? Viewership, because that right there, yeah, 300,000 on the zone. That that's very difficult for me to believe. I'm sorry, because there was no promotion for that damn thing. There was no promotion. Let's see. Dale Cooper, he says, nah, Sky Sports pulled everything they upload for the fights to the channel a month later. Oh, okay, thanks for clearing that, Dale. Thanks for clearing that up, man. Let's see. Brandon White says it's disingenuous for anyone to say that Ortiz is dangerous in any shape or form or fashion. Yeah, it's a good point. Despite him not having the best resume up there, but he's still a very dangerous and top 5 heavyweight. He's still dangerous for a guy at his age. Let's see. Well, Roscott, to be fair, Ortiz always had fanboys. Remember when people were accusing Wilder for ducking him for a long time? Remember that? People were criticizing him for that. So, if anything, why is it now that, Ortiz gets all this flack after the fact that Wilder beats him, he gets no credit for being a legitimate heavyweight by some? I don't get it. But all of a sudden, these are the same people who are now saying that Dillian must take this fight so he can gain some credibility, some bit of credibility. If he beats Ortiz, that'd be a massive win. Why are they saying it now for Dillian if that's the situation for him, but not for Wilder? I don't get it. How come Dillian gets more credit for beating Ortiz than Wilder? That's what I don't understand, Ross Clot. I don't understand that at all. Dwayne Jones says Dave Allen fought to survive. Yeah, Dave Allen, he was surviving that whole fight, even though he gave Ortiz some bit of trouble. But he was getting beat up in that fight, man. He was getting really beaten up out there. Really beaten up. Interview on Fight Hype. Can you post a link? Hey, show me where on the Fight Hype interview where he said it was 300,000 views. Because I didn't hear that. Because if that was the case, I would have known about that. I would have saw that article elsewhere. Because there's nothing saying that it was 300,000. No, Ross Clot, I didn't say you, bruh. I said that there's people out there who wouldn't give Ortiz, who will give White more credit for beating Ortiz than Wilder. I didn't say you, bruh. So you have to listen to what I'm saying, brother. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm biased. What's going on, man? He says Rigo is 37 years old, though. Yeah, Rigo is about 40. He's close to 40, but he's about 38. He's about to be 39 next year. So, yeah, he's up to age right now. Yeah, Dwayne says that Dillian fighting Ortiz doesn't make sense for him. But let's be real. Well, from a title standpoint, yeah, because there's no titles on the line. I get that, but it's also does make sense if he wants that mandatory status in one way. Because if he could get that mandatory position by beating Ortiz, then he's in line to get a shot at Wilder. But of course, he's going to have to wait a while because Dominic Brazil's going to have to get a shot first, then White. So in one sense, it does make sense. You fight Derek Chisora, you get more money and less stress than you can fight for world title. Well, that is possible. That is true because you get more money fighting Chisora. You headline the pay per view. It's a less of a risk than fighting Luis Ortiz. Let's be real. That's the reason why they're positioned to make that rematch. And then if White wins it, obviously more likely he will win it, and then he'll get a shot at AJ for the Wembley fight. Now, if they put Ortiz in there, boy, if Ortiz does beat Dillian White, which he's expected to if they ever to make that fight, and AJ and see Hearn will be put on a lot of pressure to make that Ortiz and AJ fight, a fight that he didn't want to make for such a long time. He'll be on a lot of pressure to do it, and he doesn't want to do it. Let's be real; they don't want that fight. Let's see. Let's see. I've known that already. That shit was funny. If you fight Ortiz, you lose. You lose. You set yourself back. Yeah, that's true. That's what they're afraid of. That's a very dangerous fight compared to Chisora. I'm not saying Derek Chisora can't make anything happen. He could turn things around, but he's not as dangerous as Ortiz. He's not. Joe Ho says that, but this is freaking boxing, man. To Dwayne, yeah. Lowland says that, but Ortiz is an old man. He's an old bum, right? So he should be an easy fight for White, right? A White, right? Yeah, that's another thing too. And I'm trying to get it to go at Dillian so much, but Dillian did criticize, or should I say, he didn't give Wilder much credit for beating Ortiz after the fight, after they fought. And Dillian went out and said, "Look, that man was 81 years old. I would have beaten him a lot, knocked him out a lot better than Deontay Wilder." And that's what Dillian said. Now all of a sudden, now all of a sudden, now he kind of, I don't know, man. It seems like there's a bit of change of tune there for Dillian. A bit. Yeah, Dale Cooper said one more round of Parker would have beaten White, and we all know it. White can't risk it. Yeah, that's another thing, Dale. I mean, Dillian White nearly got knocked out that last round. He was out. He was saved by the bell on his feet. He lucky he got up, and he was saved by the bell after he got up. Yeah, he was nearly knocked out by Joseph Parker. Yeah, he was out. And we didn't see that one coming. And Joseph nearly got him out of there. So that, I mean, yeah, that just shows that Dillian does have survival instincts to some degree. But yeah, yeah, after that fight and them and Dillian going in there against, and in fact, he almost got knocked out, and they're trying to put him in there against Ortiz. Yeah, if he were to do that, yeah, that wouldn't bode well for Dillian. What's going on, Rock? Hey, man, yeah, I know you want to debate me on Holyfield and Lewis, but don't worry, man. We'll get that going pretty soon. Believe me, bro. We're going to get that going pretty soon. Dwayne says, if you represent Dillian, you won't throw him in there straight in there with Ortiz. Hey, but you know what, Dwayne? He's the one who called out Ortiz for that December 22nd date, and Ortiz accepted. And Dillian's been quiet for the last 3 days and is making him look bad. So, yeah. Let's see. Red Glove Militant says that, hey, BG London, what's going on, BG? He said, don't get it twisted. I love Ortiz versus White, but Dominic Brazil is a logical choice for his mandatory position. You know what, BG? I do agree with you on that one. I do agree. Much as I like to see Ortiz versus White, but I don't mind seeing Brazil versus Dillian because that's for the mandatory position. And I have criticized White and Hearn for not taking that fight because Don Brazil is the one who, I mean, when I say taking it, I'm not sure if they will take it, but hopefully they do. I criticize him for not responding to Dominic Brazil because, well, Eddie did today. Let's be fair to him in a way. But when Don Brazil came out on an interview and said, I will put my mandatory status on line against White, they've been quiet about it. And that's why I'm wondering, are you guys going to make that fight? Don Brazil has called you guys out. And it's been, what, over a month and a half now since they haven't responded to Brazil until Eddie Hearn did. Eddie Hearn says, look, we're going to try to make the Cesaro fight. If that doesn't come off, we're going to make the Brazil fight. So they got two options, and Ortiz will be the last option that they're going to go with. So he's way back in the line, and it's sad though. Let's see. Bias says that White's getting stretched as that fight happens between Ortiz and White. Yeah, they know it. That's why Ortiz is back in the line, man. Because if they can't get the Cesaro rematch going, they're definitely going to get the Brazil fight because Brazil is going to be the next option. If Brazil said he's willing to take that fight, so he's willing to come back to the UK and make some more money. So yeah, he's willing to take that fight. Dale Cooper said White's been tipped for the AJ April for AJ in April anyway, so Eddie and White won't risk that payoff. Yeah, that's what it's all about. They're not going to risk that payday because here's the way you have to look at it, Dale. Dillian White has positioned himself to be a pay-per-view draw in the UK now. He's a pay-per-view fighter now. So let's look at it this way. If they get past Chisora or White, which more likely they will, then if they get the AJ fight in April, if Dillian White does beat AJ, which I don't see happening, if he does beat him, then it's a win-win situation for Eddie Hearn and Matchroom because they have a new pay-per-view cash cow under their banner in the UK. And Dillian White is starting to become starting to become a bit of a draw now. So that's a win-win situation for them. So they're not going to risk that right now. They're going to wait till April, wait till they, take some less riskier fights, wait till April, and then bam, they'll be set. Let's see what we got here. Roscott says that White nearly losing to Joseph Parker is irrelevant. White won. I hear you, man. He didn't win the fight, but we can't dismiss the fact that he nearly got knocked out at the end of the fight. He was out on his feet. So imagine if that Ortiz did that to him. So, and Ortiz punches much harder than Joseph Parker. Haplo type. What's going on, Haplo? I haven't seen you in a while, brother. He said Haplo says that White just blew his tough guy reputation by not taking that Ortiz fight. He's a joke now. Well, let's put it this way. He could still surprise us, Haplo, if they, depending on what fight they announce for December 22nd, even though Hearn has hinted that they're not going to take that fight now, but anything can happen. But from the way things are looking right now, yeah, it does look very bad on Dillian. It does look very bad right now. White versus Big Baby Miller? Nah, I wouldn't mind seeing that. Unbiased. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Ortiz is pretty good. I don't know. Ortiz is pretty good. White is pretty good. I lean towards Ortiz winning that one. Yeah. DOG 215 says that what's going on, DOG? He said apparently it's by public demand that Chisora gets a fight. Yet I hear the crowd scream for Wilder after the Takum fight, and Barry Hearn said that he don't care what the fans want. Matchroom hypocrites. Well, unfortunately, it's about maintaining the business. They have a business to run. That's what Barry Hearn says. So they could care less about what the overwhelming public says. They can still make money either way, even though they're going to lose some bit of interest in fights. So that's the way they see it. Ortiz won't be able to fight at Dillian White's pace. Well, I don't know about that, Ross Clyde. Have you seen Mr. Bossy today's video on Dillian White training? His recent video on that? From the looks of it, Dillian's going to have a lot of work to do if he think he can fight a guy like Ortiz with that type of style. Let's see. BG says, Black Lad sees that Ross Clyde. Don't bet your money on that one. Hey, Ross Clyde, you need to put your money down on that one, bro. Ortiz versus White. If that fight does get made somehow, some way, put your money on it. Let's see. What's up, Kiwi? What's going on, brother? What's going on? BG says that if White beats Dominic Brazil, then Joshua won't have an April backup. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point. He won't. I mean, then you have Dillian White. Then maybe you have, yeah. I mean, AJ really doesn't have. I mean, he can't really sell. I mean, look. I mean, some people are gonna say. I mean, look, the Wembley fight with Dillian White, it may have a decent draw, but it may not draw as much as the Povetkin fight was. Maybe those numbers may go down a bit. But if you don't have Dillian White on that headliner at Wembley, then if he does somehow loses his fight against Brazil, and if he somehow pulls out of that fight, who's their backup plan? Who's their backup? I mean, you got to look at the heavyweights that Hearn has. I mean, Big Baby Miller can step in. Maybe he'll step in. So we'll see. That could be a possible backup plan. Let's see. White was fatigued, but he was still hurt too, Ross Clark. So come on, man. Don't make any excuses for him now. All right. BG says that Dillian wants Wilder more than Joshua. Yeah, you know what, BG? If that's the case, then he should take the Ortiz fight. His opportunity is right there. But then again, if he takes the Brazil fight, then that's an easier opportunity. That's a low risk opportunity to say. Not saying Brazil is not going to be a tough guy, but compare him to Ortiz as far as his skill set is concerned, it's too wide of a gap. So that's a less riskier fight than taking on Ortiz. So yeah, so that right there, that's an interesting point right there. Brandon White says, I understand, bro, but there's been a lot of BS going on to Rossclot. So Rock 89 says, so White offered the December 22nd, but hasn't finalized it? Nope, he hasn't. Eddie Hearn came out and said that they're not looking into that fight. Eddie Hearn said, this is only by paraphrasing it. He said, look, the public demands to see Chisora rematch, not the Ortiz fight. If we can't get the Chisora fight, they would definitely look at Dominic Brazil. So Ortiz is not really their one of their top of the list priorities. This is what Eddie Hearn has mentioned, and this right here is making Dillian White look bad. And I looked at Dillian's looked at his Instagram, and I looked at his Twitter, and he hasn't said nothing about Ortiz accepting his December 22nd challenge. He said nothing about it, and people are harassing him and say, "Hey man, are you going to respond to Luis Ortiz? He's accepted your challenge. Are you going to say something?" You know. And then Eddie Hearn to come out and say, "No, we're not looking at that fight." This is making Dillian look bad, dude. is making him look bad right now. I mean, like I said, there's still a possibility that he could make the fight with Luis Ortiz. Maybe they are negotiating right now. Who knows? But from the looks of it, yeah, this looks bad, dude. It looks very bad. Kiwi says that Ortiz has skills and White has guts and youth, but I think it's 50-50 to watch and to see. Her will probably apply for it to be the WBO final eliminator. Well, that's possible. That's possible. But is Luis Ortiz ranked by the WBO? Is he ranked by the WBO? I don't know about that. Let me take a look at the rankings right now. Let's see. Let's see. But you know what? That's an interesting point, Kiwi. But the problem is that if he can't, will Hearn really risk that risk that fight? Given the fact that Dillian White is penciled in to be on the April to headline against Joshua for the Wembley fight, will they really risk that? Yeah, I don't know. Power can be overcome, but it doesn't mean nothing. Yeah, Hoplo, good point. The Ross Class point. Not making my excuses. My point. Power means nothing. Yeah, I mean, Ross Clyde and Hoplo, you both make some good points. Power doesn't mean everything, but there's other ways to overcome power, and I think that's what Hoplo. That's what Ross Clyde means to a certain degree, which I do agree with him on to an extent. So, Blacklight Caesar said, "Look, Dan, do you think Jose Benavidez can beat Chris Algieri or Lamont Peterson? Yeah, I think he can." Rock 89 said, "Who was banging for White versus Parker?" That's a good question, Rock. Nobody was, but it was still an interesting fight to be made. Dale Cooper says it's a good question to who would be a backup plan in April if White lost. Watching how Hearn has worked over the years is Joshua versus Huey Fury. You know what? That would be a fall fight for next year because Huey Fury and Kubrat Pulev a fight in the final eliminator, and the IBF probably will not order that fight to after April next year. So I'd be surprised if they do order that fight right before April. I'd be very surprised. But let's just say if they do order, let's say Joshua versus Huey Fury does get made for Wembley. I mean, how could you sell that fight? How can you sell it for Wembley? That's more of an O2 arena fight, but not no stadium fight. That's just my opinion. I don't know. I don't know, Dale. I don't know what your thoughts on that one. So let's see. Joe Ho says that Dan, what do you think about the welterweight division? We got 4 different champions and none of them are fighting each other right now. Man, you know what, Joe Host? It's a shame to see what the welterweight division becomes such a disarray now. And I thought that once Mayweather and Pacquiao got out of the way, we thought that with Mayweather vacating his belt and retiring initially. Well, yeah, retiring after the what you call it, after the Berto fight. Hold on, guys, give me one second. All right, sorry guys, I had a phone call. So let's get back to where I'm saying. Yeah, you make it funny. Yeah, you're funny, Ross Clot. Real funny, dog. But anyways, back to what I was saying. Back to what I have to say. Let me see. Yeah, we'll see how this turns out. We'll see how this turns out. Rob Gotti, what's happening, man? Dan, you knew it was just he was just looking for a way to pull out. You talking about White and Ortiz? Yeah, it's unfortunate, man. It just looks bad. Again, if you're an Ortiz fan, it's just no way you could defend this, man. Just no way. I'm gonna be real. If Wilder pulls some shit like this, trust me, I would have gone after him. I really would have criticized him for that. You just don't call anybody out, and then when that somebody responds to your challenge, and then he just willing to give in to your demands, you pull out. You go the other route. Then he called your bluff. You're not gonna get criticized for that. Kiwi says, "Yeah, I just looked. I stand corrected. Ortiz is not ranked by the WBO. Yeah, okay. So there's no way they can make that a final eliminator. So there's no way they could do that. Okay. Uh, let's see. Rock says that Ortiz versus Joshua would be an interesting fight, but we know that ain't gonna happen. Yeah, that fight's never gonna happen. I mean, unless Ortiz really slows down. I mean, somehow, some way, but he needs to be. He has to do something significant at that point to even be warranted to fight. Like if he's somehow a champion, somehow he gets more names on his resume. If he could get some names, then maybe. So, yeah. Miller just fought Dominic. What the fuck was that? All right, let's be real though. Big Baby Miller could, if he wants to, he could fight next month if he wants to, because Automatic didn't really do nothing. I mean, let's be real. We expected that. His punches, couldn't even hurt the guy to the body. So come on, let's be real. Big Baby Miller could fight next month if he wanted to. Hell, he could fight next week if he wanted to. He didn't even get hurt in that fight. I mean, the fight only lasted 2 rounds, but still though. Let's see. Let's see. Is he fighting in December? I mean, I don't know. I don't know, man. We that's not been confirmed. I don't know. It's only been a day and a half. Maybe they're putting a contract together. Give it a minute. You're talking about Ortiz versus over White, Kiwi. I hope so. That's why I actually think that could be a possibility. We'll see, but Eddie Hearn has ruled that they're not really looking into that fight right now. So, I mean, let's just hope they do reconsider, and they're negotiating right now. We'll see. We'll see, man. Hopefully you're right. Hopefully you're right. Everybody's mad at AJ and White waiting for a fighter to slow down. When Floyd did it, it was called smart. What the fuck, biased fans? Well, Ross Clot, you and I both agree on that one, because I criticized Floyd for that too. I criticized for him for waiting for fighters to slow down. You know that, brother. But yeah, but to your point, those who get mad at AJ and White for doing it, why is it that what that principle wasn't applied to Floyd? I mean, I can't argue with that. I cannot argue with that. BG says that how the hell is Ortiz going to be a top 10 opponent when the clock's ticking on him? Well, you know what, BG? Let me tell you something. The heavyweight division, there's a longer lifespan in that division than it is in the lower weight classes. And the reason being is because the heavyweights, their punch resistance is a lot better at that weight than it is at the lower weight class. So over time, yes, their skills would diminish, but from a punch resistance standpoint, they got a lot of miles on the clock in that division compared to the lower weight classes. That's why for many centuries and many decades, you've seen a lot of heavy people, a lot of fighters that fought at heavyweight. They fought to their almost to their early 50s. I mean, that in some cases that has happened before. So, but for the most part, it's not unusual for a heavyweight to fight, continue his career in his late or mid 40s. So that's nothing unusual. Look at Vitaly Klitschko. He did that. Well, his early 40s, to say. He retired, on top with his title. One of the top fighters. Obviously, him and his brother were both number 1, number 2 in the heavyweight division. He retired, pretty much on top, essentially on top. He was what, 43 years old, 42, 43. I mean, Vladimir, fought till he was 40. So, and Shannon Briggs, obviously he's continuing his career. He's 45, 46. We're about to be 47 this year. I think he's 47 now. So, Mir Mansour is about the same age. So, yeah, the heavyweight division, there's a lot of guys who still got miles on the clock in their mid or in late 40s. And I was a big Miller. When I was a big Miller fan, big Baby Miller fan. Well, I mean, Big Baby also ducked Ortiz too. By the way, he didn't want that fight, so he definitely need to get criticized for that. What else we got here? Ross Clot, Jesus Christ, man. Yeah, so let's see what else is going on here on the boxing news. Let's see. Ain't too much going on here. There's more of the Billy Joe Saunders and the Manny Pacquiao and PBC deal and Luis Ortiz and Dillian White situation. So, yeah, as Kiwi said, though, let's give it another day or two. Let's see what happens from here. But at this point, it doesn't look like it's happening, Kiwi. Like I said, I hope I'm wrong, and I hope you're right, man. Let's just be real. I hope you're right, man. And I certainly hope I'm wrong about this. I like Dillian White, even though I have criticized him to some degree, but he just can't. I mean, I just hope he don't do this, man. You know, when your man, you know, when a man calls you bluff and you run away like that, that does look very bad on your reputation. Yeah, let's see. Dale says that heavyweight boxing, it takes one punch to put a man's lights out over here in the UK. Everyone had Nick Webb easily beating Dave Allen. Dave Allen put him out. Yeah, I mean, it was funny though because some people were very concerned about Dave Allen when he was going into that fight because a fight prior to that, I think it was like this 30 days before that fight. I think Dave Allen was viciously knocked out by Tony Yoka in France. I mean, Tony Yoka, and he took some powerful shots in that fight, and people were concerned about his health. It's like, dude, you going in there against another big punching heavyweight? What's going on here? And Dave Allen knocked this guy out, and wow, we didn't expect that to happen, you know? Scott says, "How is Usyk going to do at heavyweight?" I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. You know, we'll see. After he beats Bellew, he moves up, and let's see what fights he gets at heavyweight. We'll see. There's a Chisora factor too. If he comes up with the $5 million, Ortiz will be out real quick. Oh, we'll see. I mean, if Ortiz or Derek can't come up with the money, then down Brazil is the next option. That's what Eddie Hearn had hinted. So we'll see. Uh, what big fight has Chisora won? Why is that any factor? Well, I mean, his last big win was against Carlos Takam. I mean, AJ beat him. You know, he was coming off a loss. I think he was coming off a loss prior to the against AJ prior to that to the Chisora fight. So I mean, Derek, his biggest wins is against Malik Scott and of course Carlos Takam. So those are his biggest wins. So other than that, some people felt he beat Dillian White in their first fight. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out, man. Usyk could beat 90% of the heavyweights, but time will tell if he can get up to that percentage. Yeah, we'll see how he does, man, when he gets up there. I mean, Rock says that that's not a big win. Chisora always coming off a loss. Yeah, I mean, it's not a big win, but I think Chisora was like the slight underdog going into that fight, I believe, against Takam, and people were surprised that he was able to get Takam out of there. So, yeah. So what else we got going here? Yeah. Why is there any other heavyweight division? Why is he any other factor in the heavyweight division he doesn't win? That's still a good point. That's still a good point. I mean, I guess Rock. I think it just goes to the fact that he wasn't expected to beat Taka. Number one, number two, he wasn't expected to give Dillian White a very, very, very good competitive fight to the end. Some people thought that Derek was going to get knocked out in that fight against Dillian White, and he gave Dillian a very difficult fight. And some people felt that Dillian lost that fight against Derek. They thought Derek won it. It was a damn good heavyweight fight. So I guess from that point, I'm not saying he's a factor, but he can prove some bit of significance if he could somehow beat Dillian White in the rematch. And to be fair, Dillian hasn't proved after that fight, but we'll see. But there's some things he still needs to work on. Joho says slight underdog. I thought Takam was going to kill him. Hey, was Takam that big of a favorite to beat Chisora going into that fight? I don't know. I know Takam was a favorite, but I thought he was a slight favorite. Dan, you all boxers or for UD. I don't know, but well, I could. I don't know, man. We'll see. Yo, what up, Hamed? What up, man? Uh, Kiwi says you fight Zazora then Rock if he's so trash. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Come on, y'all. Let's keep it cool. Keep it cool. All right, let's see. Let's keep it cool, Kiwi, man. It's all good though. Let's see. BG says that Shazora has 9 lives like a cat. Yeah, that dude just doesn't go anywhere. It's like you think he's gone. He thought he's retired. So we'll see. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, something else. All right. Anyways, I got Dan TKO White round 12. I don't know, man. I want to go near Dillian White. I mean, he's a dangerous fighter either way. I think he's got some flaws, but he's still damn good. He's still a very good fighter either way. And Rock says, honestly, Dillian White is a very trash fighter himself. Whoa, Rock, you don't want to catch the catch. You don't want people to catch you saying that now, man. He said, I'll fight Chisora. Ain't no shame in my game. Oh, okay. Okay. Gail Cooper says Chisora is no threat. I mean, look, he agreed to fight Joe Joyce that he pulled out on Sky Sports Fight Night because he hated the he would pay him the money that he made from the Bellew fights. Yeah, that was. I mean, Derek is also notorious for pulling out of fights too, or turning out a lot of opportunities too, because he's at the point of his career that he's trying to get the highest paydays as possible. Because we know he's not going to be a world champion. We know that. He knows that himself. He knows that he doesn't really have the love for the sport like he used to. So he's pretty much at this point. He's almost close to high level journeyman status. I mean, he's at this point of his career. I picked Dan to be Christy Martin, but not in her prime. Oh, is that? Come on, Ross Klein. Why you have to go there on me, bro? White's not that good, Dan. Well, Rock, I think he's a good fighter, but like I said, I think he still got some flaws when it comes to his technique. I mean, all the heavyweights do because they're not the most technical fighters in that division. I mean, AJ is pretty technically good. Ortiz is very good technically. So I think, or Luis Ortiz, despite what we say about his resume, he's probably the best technical fighter in that division. Many people will agree with that. He's probably the best technical fighter there. Man, everybody got jokes today. Almost Chisora is a gatekeeper. Well, I mean, he didn't prove to be a gatekeeper against Takam because we all thought he was a gatekeeper in that fight. So we'll see. I mean, he may be a gatekeeper after the Dillian White fight. I will officially say that, Ross Clot. I officially will say that. Calling any top 30 boxer fighter trash is just disrespectful. So appreciation of these guys who give us entertainment is due, in my opinion. Well, Kiwi, I definitely agree with you on that. But like most of us, man, we do have our right to critique. I mean, we all do, like you do as yourselves. But I agree, though. I don't think Dilly is a trash fighter. I know Rock and I don't disagree on a lot of things, but this is one point we have to disagree a little bit, Rock. I don't think Dillian White is a trash fighter. I think he's a pretty good fighter, but he still got some things to work on. He's still developing it a bit. So, and I agree with Kiwi for most on your point, man. That most of these fighters who get themselves in the top 30, maybe obviously in the top 10, they deserve this respect. And that's why I feel that Wilder needs to get that respect too. He's a champion. Yes, he has not fought the best opposition out there, but the man still earns his respect, especially when he stepped up against Ortiz. He deserves his respect, and people still criticize him. So, yeah, I see what you're saying, Kiwi. But again, we all have a right to criticize fighters because we do pay the money to criticize them. Because when we give them our money to give us the entertainment, we do have a right to critique them. So that goes to Rock's point right there. The bottom line is both of you guys have some good points. Both of you. So Takem's garbage performance is garbage performance against AJ. Well, to be fair, AJ didn't look good in that fight anyway. His performance wasn't that great against Takem either. So let's be real. What's Usyk going to do when he fights a true heavyweight? That's yet to be seen, Ross Clyde. And I've said this many times, and I say it again. I'll stick to my beliefs, and this is my opinion only. Is that I don't think Alexander Usyk could beat Dillian White. I'm sorry, not Dillian White. I don't think he could beat Deontay Wilder, and I don't think he could beat Anthony Joshua. And I don't think he could beat Luis Ortiz. I mean, both southpaws, but those guys are much heavier. They hit much harder, and they got much longer reach than Alexander Usyk. And Alexander Usyk is not known to be a puncher, by the way, because he won't be able to get his way with those heavyweights like he did at cruiserweight. Because at cruiserweight, he was usually, obviously, he was somewhat of a bigger man than those cruiserweights. He had the longer reach than some of those guys. But, of course, he was able to utilize his reach and his outside technique against those guys. But as far as these heavyweights is concerned, yes, he'll trouble them, but I just don't think he'll be able to get his way with these guys. I really don't. Let me read your comment again, Ross Clot. I think I may have read it wrong. Let me see. Let's see. Let me see. Takem is a garbage performance from AJ. Oh, my bad. Thank you, man. Sorry, brother. I read it wrong. My bad. Let's see. Usyk can't be Tyson Fury either. Yeah, thank you, Ross. Thank you, Rock, because I knew I was forgetting someone else in my head, but yeah, I just don't think he could beat Tyson Fury either. Any form of Tyson Fury, I don't think Usyk could beat. I really don't see it. Kiwi says there's a legit criticism and there is straight up disrespect. Apples and pears, man. Yeah, you mean apples and oranges. That's a good point. I'll give you that one, Kiwi. I will give you that. I'll give you that. But maybe Rock is saying that they're trash based off their technical skill level. I don't know. You may have to ask Rock that question. All right, guys. I think I'm going to have to wrap it up. I like doing these solo hangouts. I mean, I'm going to have to get some guys on here again soon. I'll chop it up. So I'm out. Peace, y'all, and keep it, team. All right, brother. All right, see you later, guys. See you, Kiwi, and see you, Ross Clyde, as always, brother. Rock 89, BG London, all the Londoners and all the UK guys, subscribers, man. I really appreciate you guys for coming in, and I'm glad we all keep it respectful here. Joe host, as always, brother. As always, you got the chokes, man. Hey, Dan, let me know. I'm down for a panel. No problem, man. I'll let you know next time, man. I'll let you know. BG London. Hey, good, man. Good to have you in. Brandon White, as always. Anyone could confirm that LP is locked up? Who's LP? Who's LP? Good show, good debate. Yeah, thanks a lot, Dale Cooper. Hey, man, for a first-time subscriber, I mean, good. I mean, hey, man, thanks for coming in, man. I really appreciate that. Dwayne Jones, as always, Dwayne. Who else was in here? Hamed was here for a second. Blackland Seas, always a pleasure, brother. Rob Gotti. Lowland Profits, M. Reynolds. Shout out to some of the guys at LDBC. Hoplo Type, Unbiased, the DOG 2015, Red Glove Militant. All you guys, man. I mean, I appreciate you guys for coming in. Hop was in here for a second. Aki. Shout out to you, brother. I know we don't agree on a lot of things, but shout out to you, Rome. So all you guys, man, a lot of you guys from the UK, man. Shout out to everybody there, man. I really appreciate you guys. Some of you guys, and I'll have to give a shout out to Lord Flanneroy, man. He's a good, long time commenter, man. Good to see him in the chat again as well. And shout out to McGregor, over there at the UK as well, man. I got to get him on again sometime. So, yeah. Black Line C says that Low Place. Nah, man, I haven't heard from Low Place in a while, man. Oh, you talking about Low Place? Yeah, well, look, I can't talk about that situation, man, Brandon. I can't. Let me just leave it alone, man. I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna leave that alone because I do know this. Though I will say though, he did make in one of his last hangouts. He did mention something about it, reporting to the joint. But I'm gonna just leave that there, man. I'm gonna just leave it at there. Hey, Dad, did you cover Bud versus Jose before the fight happened? Yeah, I did actually. I did say that Jose Benavidez. I did cover it briefly. I did know the fight's going down on Saturday. I did know that they got into a little varring spat in the workout, in the media workout. So yeah, but I'll definitely have to, cover that fight tonight. I'm gonna do a fight upload on that one and see who I think is gonna win it. So obviously, I'm favoring Crawford to beat Benavidez, and I'm not saying Benavidez can be competitive, but I mean, I expect Crawford to handle him with relatively ease as he did with all his opponents. So, yeah. So we'll see, man. Yeah. All right, guys. I'm about to get off here. It's nice talking to y'all. I'll see y'all again. Peace.